鉄の玉が正義の証明貫けば英雄に近づいたその目を閉じて触れてみれば同じ形同じ体温の悪魔僕はダメってあいつはいいのそこに壁があっただけなのに生まれてしまった定め嘆くな僕らはみんな自由なんだから鳥のように羽があればどこへだって行けるけど帰る場所がなければきっとどこへも行けないただ生きるのは嫌だ世界は残酷だそれでも君を愛すよ何を犠牲にしてもそれでも君を守るよ間違いだとしても疑ったりしない正しさとは自分のこと強く信じることだ鉄の雨が降り散る情景テレビの中映画に見えたんだ戦争なんて愚かな凶暴関係ない知らない国の話それならなんであいつに組んで黒い気持ち隠しきれないわけ説明だってできやしないんだ僕らはなんて矛盾ばっかなんだこの言葉も役
Okay. Slip and fall. Will you laugh at me? Okay. I have to get into the mental mindset. I forgot I was gonna stream today. So we're listening to the rumbling as I prep myself mentally to kill this dude. Also did a little bit of playing offline. But it's just because I wanted to get the second Uchi Katana because someone told me where it was, and it's like, say less. So I went to go grab it myself. Yeah, upgraded a little bit. But now we have two katanas. And we're dual wielding. I'm switching to game scene. I'm already late. Because I forgot I was going to stream today. So we're going right into it. Say less. Easy peasy. Okay. There it is. I thought that was an NPC for a second. That kind of creeped me out. Alright, but yes, like I said, we can dual wield now. And God, I'm gonna get instantly one shot when I walk in. But I mean, I guess that's okay. This boss had music, right? I mean, of course he had music. All the bosses have music. Why would they not have music? Alright. I don't know why I'm playing it so difficult for myself, but I am. Alright, it's okay, it's okay. It's the warm-up, No big deal. Last time we played though, we did get into half HP right before we ended the stream. So I'm hoping maybe this time we can do the same. Except instead of half HP, it's his entire HP bar. Bum bum do 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 do. Sheesh. And of course, me being the crazy person that I am, I'm playing this while how the fuck does that even hit, man? Okay, so I can't get two bloody swings off without if he goes down, I die. If he does the charge up wind up, I can, but it's not worth it because I would die. So maybe what I should do is like do one big swing and then oh, I can't even do that. Try to do like the regular swing. Even that was a bit too slow. Damn. Why are you being so mean to me? Alright. I mean, I'm a lot better at dodging that move now. Bro, who the fuck is that? Finger Maiden? When I died, I was like, who is this person standing in front of me? But I see. I see. Boom, boom, ba-da-da-dum, ba-da-da-dum-dum. Okie dokie. Horsey boy, you must fall. Oh, hold up. I mean. Yeah, honestly, I don't know how to deal with that down attack. I mean, it's just a dodge, but I don't know how many swings I can get off with. Well, not much, apparently. I can only get off one. Not dead. Final words, I'm not dead. Hello, Mel. How are you? How is going? How is going? Let me actually move my chat over here. There we go. Now I can read it. How are you? Boom, boom. We charge. We go cram. He's about to fuck us up. I felt my midterm, but many people did too. Hey, if many people did, that means you're probably gonna get a little bonus. Hey, Cool Bones, how are you? How's physical therapy been, bruh? Okay. Ah! Ichi ni. 1, 2, 3. Well, he went into the sky. I couldn't get that last hit in before he. Oh my god! Giant fucking meteor from the sky there. Why am I in my undies? I'm not in my undies. What do you mean? I'm gonna be playing Apex in a bit later. That should be fun. I haven't played it in so long. I kind of want to in the new PC. Oh, in the game. I wanted to go crazy. I wanted to be this guy with absolutely nothing to show dominance. My dark office still needs to prove it though. I hope they prove it soon. It's not gonna be annoying to wait for. Well, that's legit, I guess. Yeah. There's also another aspect to it. The less equipment load I have, the more damage I do. I'm not sure if it caps out. Let me show you. Oh, I have 3 spots now. That's right. Raises attack power for lower equipment load. Raises attack power for successive attacks. And I actually have 3 now, so I can put another thing here. Raises vitality. Oh. That might be nice. Someone who's not leveling up HP. That might be very nice. But we'll go with this one for now. We'll raise our attack power when our HP is max, since we have no HP normally. So. Yeah, I'm doing glass cannon, basically. This guy fucks. Literally no time to chill. Absolutely no chill. I get the big swing off, and then he's already on his next move. So he's a mega no chill character. Very not nice. Whoa, whoa, whoa. That was really close. I couldn't roll, man. Oh my god. That was a specific moment. That was a specific moment when I'm supposed to L1 and do the other thing. Because he did the down attack. I was hoping he would do the other attack. Dude, the news of these games have been killing me. There's been so many fucking, like, memes. But all of them are, like, super funny. The most recent one I saw that made me laugh was, oh, I'm sorry, but you're dripless or something like that. Instead of maidenless. Oh, I hate to tell you, but you're maidenless. Forgot the exact meme. Shit made me laugh. What memes have you been seeing? Alright, big guy. This time you're going to second phase for sure. As my eyes itch. Absolute bullshit. There we go, one swing off, that's fine. Another swing off, that's fine. He just stomped on me with his little stubby feet. God damn it. He just went right on top of me. Oh my god. That's good. My favorite one is when it says me and boss, and then the me character is getting the face beaten in the background of the camera is my jellyfish. I haven't seen that one. I've seen a decent amount of memes. I don't think I've seen that one. Probably would make me laugh though, considering the context of that. Me and boss getting at my face pummeled in. Zoom. I missed? Motherfucker! I was dodging shit. It's just whenever I swung, he was out of my range. What happened to your armor? What do you mean? That is my armor. More defense. More attack power. I'm confused by what you mean. What are you saying, Mel? No, it's the full I'm gonna fuck this guy up with nothing build. His poor horse. His poor horse. The state of that horse, I feel so sad. His horse is like dead. It's not sussy. You'll notice that I'm glowing red right now. That is my armor. Kind of looked like a screensaver for a second. Why am I... Everyone's just coming in to ask me why I'm naked. God damn it. It's my armor. Surely. Fucker! He changed his attack on me. I don't know. I could do different attacks after he does the pull. I don't know what's going on, but I watched 3 streamers. Gang, gang. I played Bloodborne for 45 minutes and uninstalled it. Everybody's going after your wardrobe today. All right. I'll explain it. Right now, I've increased attack power for lower equip load. The less my equip load is, the more damage I do. You know? So, got rid of all my armor. I also have one that increases my attack power. My HP is max, and I have increased attack power to successive attacks. So, it's intentional. The only thing is, I don't know if it caps out or not, but I'm also kind of like, I want to feel the satisfaction of defeating this guy with no armor. That should not have hit me. Or that should have hit me. I mean. Motherfucker. What the fuck? Woo! Let's go, baby! We died instantly during his second phase, but you know what? You know what? We did some fucking damage. We did some fucking damage. Fuck that guy. Felt good. I haven't seen your face, but I know it's you. Hello! Thank you for the raid, Undertaken King. How are you, sir? What's going on? Where are we up to? Alright, ya motherfucker. That hurt. Dude. What's up, Buckles? I'm good. Was you just playing some Persona 5? Oh, shit. First time? Or... Persona 5 is pretty pog. People love Persona 5. I love Persona 5. But how are you guys doing? Thank you for the raid. I would shout you out, but, I don't think I have the bot. Like, at all. Oh, I think I can still shout out. I think Nightbot exists. But if anyone likes Persona, please consider taking a look at our friend Undertaken King as he goes on his Persona ways and dreams. Which waifu are you going for? Oh, I didn't get hit. Oh, you have to know that's cap. You have to know that's cap. I didn't roll. I saw the move coming. I just wasn't rolling. Whoops. Not second time. I like that. I respect that. I haven't played. I wanted to play the... What's it called? Royal or Royale? Persona 5 Royale, maybe? Wanted to play that, but I didn't. Is that what you're playing though? Bro, I roll so I think it's just my instincts, maybe as well. Maybe I'm just not rolling when I see him. Like use that move, the chop down move. There's a jet flying around. No, that's not a jet. That's a propeller. That's a propeller plane. Is there an air show going on? What the fuck? Oh my god, he did the fucking attack and I just stared at him again. No! It's such an easy attack to dodge as well. It's just dodge. You just gotta dodge. He just does this and he does that. Does this and does that. Like it's fast, but like you just roll. Roll, Hitsu. Roll. I know your reflexes are faster than that. Whew. Alright. I got this. But have you been though, Undertaking? Any crazy shit going on in your life? And second, what have you been up to as well? And also, welcome, Buckles. Hope life is going well for you. You know, that's kind of silly of me to assume it wouldn't do damage on the way up like it did damage on the way down. You know, like that. I don't know why I would assume that. You beat this guy, get immortal? Oh, say less. Alright, we're gonna beat this guy now. Silly assumption of me. God damn it. Those are fucking spears. Actual spears. Okay. I beat this guy. You get immortal. Easy. Easy game. Easy peasy. That's the first time I've died to that in a while. Alright. I run at him. Run at him again. He should do his other attack. Motherfucker. Oh, I didn't roll. I didn't roll! Getting hit on the second one, the second shotgun arrow, is a lot worse than getting hit on the first shotgun arrow. First shotgun arrow, I could just heal up and position myself. But the second shotgun arrow, you're like just far enough where you have to worry about like two different things. Quite unfortunate. Alright. We brought him down to 30%. We can do this. We can do this. Oh my god, that was way too close. Fucking greedy. That was way too greedy of me. Hit the horsey, that's fine. Run at him now. He was out of my fucking range. Dude is out of my range, man. God damn it. Do I go for Makoto in this playthrough? Makoto? Who's Makoto? He does need a chill pill though. You don't get much room to breathe. Like this boss, which is fun, I guess. It's just, it kicks your ass if you're not ready. Makoto Nijima. Ah. How about Persona 5? I thought you were talking about like in this game. I was like, who the hell is Makoto in this game? Another bitch! I'm relying too much on that now. You gotta say this is the run? This is the run? I gotta say this is the run? Alright. I don't know if it's the run yet though. I'm not feeling it. I'm not feeling it yet. I'm not feeling it yet. But, you know what? Fuck it. This is the run. I'm not feeling it yet. But this might be the run. Manifest your reality? You're right. I'm still learning him. That's why I don't feel it yet. But, fuck it. Who needs to learn him? I just need to kill him. Sound good? Star Scourge, Radon. Motherfucker. I healed, and he said, you know what, because he healed, fuck you in particular. See, healing is for betas. If you heal in this game, you're cheating. The gatekeepers of Soulsborne games. Like I said, this one makes it a lot more difficult. That one downwards attack is so fast. He does it so quickly that if I'm in the middle of an animation, I can't dodge. That one attack is so fast. And he does it super fucking randomly, I feel like. Is it like a range thing if I'm like too close maybe? Has to be a range thing. I tried to roll there, but I think I just rolled too late, and I just stared at him like, clap, you gone, bitch. He played me. This cunt got my ass. He's still, I think, among one of the more stupider looking bosses I've seen. Like, he is both a mix of really cool, really badass, and really stupid, which is such a weird combination, but it's funny though. I'm digging it. Alright. Get close. Use his stamina. Do it again. Motherfucker. I wonder if the application process being Elden Ring is. He must have flashed you or said some shocking stuff. It's either or. Either or. There's no in between. That's what killed me. This dude, Fox. Blood Flame Blade. I wonder how I use that. I don't know. Eco! Uno, dos. Oh, fucker. Yeah, for sure. Definitely one of the qualifying factors. I mean, let's be real here. Let's be real here. Let's be honest here. You know? You know? You think it's that easy to become a boss? You know how many main storyline bosses there are? Not many. Not many. Alright. I wish I had the stamina regen. Talisman. I keep saying ring, but it's not a ring anymore. Talisman. God damn. God damn. I went too far, so he summoned the orbs. Which you can dodge. I did dodge him before. I was very slow in the... I think it's harder to see where the orbs are coming than it is his own arrows. His orbs, I can't tell when they get close. You need a death counter? I don't have any deaths. These are all scripted. These are all scripted deaths. You can see the technical scripted deaths in the game, right there, and the right below the HP bar. Scripted, of course. Very scripted. Motherfucker. Okay, I want to see something. I want to see something. This is just for my own taste. Okay. Okay. So it is actually faster to roll with my... If I do a regular swing instead of 2 swings. Why is she naked? Oh, that's her armor. You can see her her red glowiness. That's how you know she's really strong right now. It's armor that boosts attack power. Yep. That's logical. Everyone is calling me out today. Yeah. It's the classic. I mistimed that. Naked equals strong. That's how it works in anime, right? Yeah. Without having to worry about wearing kinky, slow, bulky armor, you can get in there and go absolutely crazy. This is a boss I'm supposed to summon a lot of people in, but I'm not, because I'm a fucking weirdo. I'm a gosh darn masochist, clearly. fucking panicked. I don't know why I panicked. He did exactly what I wanted him to, but I panicked. I think I mistimed myself. So basically, for anyone who doesn't know, though, this specific boss used to be an old hero. He used to be the hero of Caelid, or whatever. I guess they fought on the fields of Caelid. But he got this thing called the Scarlet Rot, which I'm guessing is like tuberculosis or something like that, except it makes you bleed viscerally, and it degrades your mind as well. And he went fucking mad. Now he kills everything he sees, and he eats everything he sees, including his own allies. So we're putting him in his place eventually. Eventually we'll be. Pretty sad story. On half HP. What the fuck? When you carry more than 70% of your maximum equipped load, your dodge rolling will be slower than usual. But brah, he wasn't half HP. Nande? The real fun begins when he gets half HP. The semi-fun begins at 75% HP, but the real fun begins at half HP. And that's where we really get fucked. I can't even consistently get him down to half HP though. I'm kind of concerned. Bitch. That one attack, I have such a hard time dodging the overhead attack. I'm pretty sure I could have rolled there. I think I don't process it fast enough. It's kind of bad. See? See? Scripted deaths! Right over there! Asian Empress, right over there! Right over there. In the far corner where the doggo is. Yep. This is intentional. Me getting my ass handed to me. Very intentional. This is just how the game works. All these scripted cutscenes. Rambling. Rumbling. It's coming. Oh! Am I not rolling because I have no stamina? I've not been paying attention to the stamina bar, but after all, like, just dodging like that, Maybe I'm just not rolling because I have no stamina. That entire time I kept getting hit by the thing when I, like, after the horse charge. Do I really use all my stamina there? If he does the other move, I have time to build up my stamina because I'm just standing there waiting. Ah. That might be what it is. I might have to actually chill instead of using too many damn moves. I was not paying attention. Not gonna lie. I have a lot more stamina now, though. Was that a lingering hitbox that I just got hit by? Was that what I just got hit by? A lingering hitbox? We got some lingering hitboxes up in this shit on this last phase. Motherfucker. Motherfucker. How are you doing, Scotty? Oh, I didn't watch the video you sent me. Over those, you motherfucker! Throw those giant balls of doom at me. I dare you to, bitch. Yeah, keep charging at me. Keep charging me, you weirdo. fucking balls, man. Oh! Conspiracy theory here, but I think the horse underneath the boss is the real boss. Okay, getting ready to work out soon. How are you? How goes the Radon fight so far? I mean, I can get him to second phase. It's just I haven't seen his second phase enough to like know how to deal with him. I'm pretty sure the only way I can kill him though, second phase, is if I stay on his ass. Like, no bullshit. If I stay on his ass, I think I can do something. But if I try to run away, he plays keep out with the giant balls, and I have to worry about dodging those. Dick. How to get to this fight? You can't just trip into it, right? How did I get into this fight? It's a story boss, I think. There's an elevator. We got talked to a whole bunch of people. They talk about this hunt going on, and then they're like, "Okay, it's time for the festival to begin." And I take this teleporter, and yeah. I'm not sure if you have to fight this guy. I think you do, but I'm not really sure. Though, to be fair, the way I'm playing is a lot crazier than if I was, you know, a normal person. Motherfucker. Whatever, I'm dead. Getting hit in the second one is so much more troublesome than getting hit in the first one. A lot more troublesome. But I'll show you like what you're normally supposed to do. I'll summon the people this time. It makes the boss fight supposedly a lot easier. And you'll see, I summon a whole bunch of people, and they start going to town on them. You feel me? You're supposed to summon people for this fight normally. Normally, anyways. Oh, someone died. Ah. You can literally let them do the fight for you. Basically. Alexander the best boy? Yeah. Oh yeah, Alexander just fucking died! Okina has died. Wait, they staggered him. Warrior jar? They staggered him. You can stagger him. I wasn't kidding. You can actually stagger this guy. What the fuck? So yeah, that's normally how you do it. That's normally how you do it. You're supposed to summon everyone, and they'll do the fight for you. Basically, you can get involved in the fight the same way I am still now, but at least then you have a lot of more options. He doesn't aggro onto you the entire fucking time, because the dude has no fucking chill, as we've noticed. No fucking chill whatsoever. Oh my god, getting hit on that one is so stupid. I could have healed there, I guess. I was expecting to do the down thing on me, not the kick and slash thing. Or not kick, the stomp and slash thing. So we're stubborn. We like getting our scripted death counter way up there. So we're gonna keep doing this until he's dead our way. Woohoo! But yeah, normally it's like a really fun like Avengers Assemble type of fight. It's a Dark Souls version of Avengers assembling. I got hit by both of them joints? Motherfucker, man. Alright. Let's find this guy. Getting so close. I can't live past like the first interaction I have with him each time. But if I can dodge and like reset myself properly there, he's dead for sure, right? Then play it safe and we're like, alright, this guy's gonna die. Maybe. Oh, didn't summon my my one things. I'm also seeing a little bit more gaps in his defense. We can get a couple more swings in certain spots. Oh, you dick. I actually don't know when he shoots those giant balls. It freaks me out. It freaks me out, dude. There's just giant balls floating on him. Oh my god. Just shoot them. Shoot them. You're scaring me. And also, I fucked up there. That was on me. I could have done even more damage if I didn't fuck up there. Same, they're just hanging there. He just has his balls hanging out. Like, hey, yo, chill. I mean, it's a very fun boss fight, though. I do like it. Oh, you dick. That was a different attack. I think I can double roll there. How fast can I double roll? 1, 2. I'm gonna try it. I only rolled once. That was a different attack, though. 1, 2. Ooh, 1, 2. If I'm thinking about it, I can. If I'm not, I'm fucked. It's like a flashbang in Valorant. If you're thinking about the flashbang, you can dodge the flashbang. If you can be the flashbang, you can eat the flashbang. Wait, what? That make no sense. That's okay. I'm okay with this. I didn't roll. I thought I did. I was just out of like the optimal distance. I really thought I was gonna roll, but I didn't. That was a whoopsie. Whoopsie on my part. Ooh, the distance we made on that one. Oh, I tried to roll twice there. Right, left, maybe? Maybe it wasn't fast enough, so like if I did right, left, maybe I get like a bit more... Just need like a couple milliseconds to make that roll properly. A couple of frames. Roll right, roll left when he does that attack. Maybe. I don't know for sure. Oh. I fucks that up. 595. Oh my god. Is this the content you guys want? Is this the content you guys are all about? Watch people die? This is the content I'm about. I'm all about the scripted deaths. Honestly don't know how impactful my fucking Gilgamesh swords are, the floaty swords. Like, zero idea how impactful they actually are. How do? How do dodge? How do dodge? That's the attack that fucks with me mentally. I was doing some good damage to him though. Like honestly, I was doing some really good damage to him. That one move though. Was that some bullshit? No, I mean he hit me with the very tip of his sword, I guess. It's not really bullshit, it's just I dodged the first hit. I'm not trying to get too cocky, because he does have the downward attack that he hasn't done in a while. If you remember that one. He hasn't done that one in a while. That attack still exists. I was really pushing it there. I was really pushing it. Not healing. How much work can those pot guys do? Like damage? Or what do you mean? Because they are tanky. They are very tanky. That is like one of their qualities. They are tanky AF. Oh, I have no idea. I would assume a lot. No stamina. No stamina there. Well, I want to say a lot, but the thing is, if they die, you can technically resummon them at new spawn points they have. So it's one of those things where, even if they don't do the job, you can still do the job. Basically. Like, you'll notice, right now we don't see any spawn points. Like, that are far. But when we go past these, you'll see spawn points appear. Like, just now. Spawn point just appeared right there, where we're standing. And it's like that for a lot of it. I was wondering, oh, if I use them, that'd be like normal. I'm kind of doing a challenge run without doing a challenge run intentionally. Basically. Yeah. I can summon them. I got greedy there. So his hitbox does go farther than it looks on his pull-up. But ooh, that was some fire damage. That was some fire damage. Thank you. I'll need it. I need some you got this vibes. Some good luck vibes. Oh my god! I didn't jump? Why didn't I jump? I tried to jump off. Nope. He just shot the heavens. I thought I jumped. Whew. Okay. If your 7 runs out, your stance will be broken. Yeah. That's pretty factual. Ichi, ni, san. Oof. Running close again. Ichi, ni. Take my time and go. Go up. Go down. Cry a little bit. All right, that makes sense. That makes sense. I didn't do enough damage for him to want to pull out the one thing. His rock hard swords, bruh. Rock hard swords. I guess I'm trying to see my rock hard sword. He said. Damn, those missiles though? Those arrows, I mean? They're scary. Does this stomp not do any damage? Like his little foot stomp? I'm not sure it does any damage. I was kind of slow there, but it didn't do anything to me. Was that a range? Maybe it's a very small hitbox? I don't know. It didn't do damage like I expected it to. Kind of surprising, actually. I don't know. That's a good question. Oh, I didn't roll, man. I know I can roll there. It's just every single time you see him do that one thing, it's scuffed. It's scuffed for me. I don't know why that specific move I have a very hard time reacting to. He's not doing anything like particularly weird. It's just a straightforward hit, but like it fucks me up. Okay, that hurt like a motherfucker, bro. It's a delay. A specific move is a delay. Oh, and I didn't switch again. See, we get close though. We have those random runs where we get close. I just need one that's close enough. Roll. Grabs, and you've been really close. He's the guy that pulls out a shotgun for a fucking fly. Yeah. Except, I am an annoying fly. Very annoying fly. Ah. Oh no! People didn't pull out shotguns for flies. They pulled out shotguns for rats. That was the thing. All right, big guy. I'm feeling it now. I'm feeling the grasp of victory. Okay, kind of rude. Kind of very rude. One thing that bugs me sometimes is when he should pull out his sword, he pulls it out too early sometimes, I feel like. They're trying to manipulate the range as well. But that's a minor inconvenience. A minor inconvenience called bad RNG. No, I don't think it's a bad RNG thing. I think I was just in his range. Getting hit twice there really slowed me down. Just enough for that to not work. Fuck. It was just enough for me to not to work. That's quite unfortunate. I'm curious, are you doing this fight naked? To flex on him. Clearly. Alright, buddy. Kind of far. don't think the stomp kills you. I need to stop freaking out with that stomp. Or it does damage to you. I'm gonna pretend like I know where you should stand to avoid attacks in this game. These boxes move awkward as fuck and I have a hard time catching a pattern. It can be very awkward. But what makes this one awkward for me is he's standing on a horse. And when you swing on a horse, that's okay. This is me attacking to the right, right? This is me attacking to my left. Charge. See how, like, it starts off? Like, he starts off on the left side with the heavy attack, and then he goes to the bottom right? Shit like that is fucking with me. He's fucking with me. Also, it's for equip load stuff, Scotty. I'm not sure if it helps much, but it says the lower my equip load, the more damage I do. Oh, that's kind of a lame one. Lame start. I didn't roll, man. That's why it's so hard to tell when he does that attack. His default position is with his arms out. So when he does that attack, he barely raises it up. So I think he's moving, but he's not. And by the time I react to the fact that he's moving, he's already swinging. And I'm like every single time I do roll, I just roll too late. I see it now. His default positioning to that specific attack is so subtle that if you're not hyper focused on it, you're gonna get hit by it. Bitch. Alright, that's kind of lame. And you know it. That attack's kind of annoying too. He's Kid Goku the first time around. That reminds me, I don't know why you just reminded me. In Lost Ark, there's this mount where you can ride on a cloud. And I kind of want it. Like a lot, actually. You just remind me though. Shangri-La. It's an MMORPG. That did so much fucking damage to me, man. I gambled it there. I definitely gambled it there. I wanted him to use the spinning attack because I could actually pop a heal in. I was hoping he wouldn't do the downward attack. Definitely gambled. Though I am curious. If I'm not really using this that much. What if I put on the HP one? Where's the HP one? Rise Vitality. What does that do when it runs out? Do I just fucking die? Hope not. We're about to find out. Okay, so no, it's a build-up meter. It's not like a you die meter. I'm I'm not leveling up HP. But maybe I have enough HP now to survive that one downward hit. The slight bullshit of that attack. I'm gonna get hit by that, but it's okay. I didn't get hit by the foot. I'm okay, so that is what it is. Foot stomp, then roll. I think. Or did I get sucked in by the foot? Was there like, maybe there was like a little stun thing there going on. I don't know, actually. Good observation, Cool Bones. It might have like a little gravity hole on his. Why didn't I jump off? Instead of jumping up, I kept running. I know I clicked it. I think I canceled the animation somehow. In mods on it, you can get tremored. Yeah. Well, I don't think it's a tremored. This guy has like gravity sucking bullshit. So I think there's a little gravity well when he stomps on the bottom of his feet. That's what gets you. Ichi, neat, stomp. That's what I meant to do earlier. I just didn't hop off. Alright. This is it. That's kind of rude. Did anyone see that? His first swing of that like delayed attack didn't do damage to me because I was right under him. He missed. So I could time it and only roll one of the swings. I could risk it and I wouldn't have to roll twice and try to perfect time that shit. Maybe? Maybe? Oh my fucking god, man. Greedy. Need to stop defaulting to using the big damage weapon or big damage move that takes my HP when I get an opening, because it does leave me open. I need to do this more. That's much faster instead of this. It's like 3 times faster. Okay. Well, I used some HP. Whoops. We're starting this one with 1 less because I need my full HP. And less mana as well. Whoops. motherfucker. I need to make a mental note. He charges up, don't dodge. He's about to do the spin. The slow spin. Don't dodge right away. And try dodging left. Need to make that mental note. Gotta think about it. God, there's so many mental notes I need to keep with this guy. Oh, I was right! I have to be behind him to survive that attack. Hey yo, Hisu. Hey yo, Leo. How are you? You fucked him up though that time. That felt so good. Oh my god. My mental notes are coming in. How are you doing, Leo? What's going on? My mental notes are actually coming in. If he stomps on you, that's when you dodge. Or no, you don't dodge when he stomps. You dodge after a stomp. Alright, Dick. Oh, I didn't dodge right away. You're just chilling around? I'm pretty good. I'm just vibing, trying to kill this ugly looking face of an old hero who went crazy and started eating everyone, like his own friends, his family, his soldiers, enemy soldiers, all of them, all of the above. I still have a cough though, kind of sad about it, but I'm vibing. Oh, Scotty, are you there? There's that one thing that came out. The what is it called? Spider-Man No Way Home. Bro, what the fuck? You're doing some bullshit now. He was actually doing some bullshit there. Yeah. And since I'm still coughing, I never got to go. But I guess we can watch it now sometime. With my reaction. And then eventually when I stop coughing, I can go watch Batman. Maybe Uncharted. Hey, Tally. Makes sense. Looking at a lot of heroes in fiction, many of them go absolutely nuts in many instances. Yeah. Yeah. I can't... I guess it really depends on Sophia. When she's free. Bro! Are you bugged again? Okay, he's not. He's not. False alarm. I'm a bit farther away, so... Oh, fuck. He was stomping. He was stomping, and I dodged on the stomp instead of dodging on the hit. The stomp doesn't kill me, it's the hit that kills me. Whatever his feet do, I don't care. Alright, whatever his feet do, that's not my job. That's not my... Don't give a fuck about that. None of my business. Oh, fuck. We lost the sword, guys. It's over. Actually, 3 is a pretty lucky number. 4 is a number of death. That and 13, I guess. So many delayed attacks, man. That's what makes this game really hard in Elden Ring. So many delayed attacks. You need to respect the delayed attacks, but you also have to be watching out for the like attacks that are like instant. Like his overhead smash down if I'm too close. Alright. That one. I don't know. I don't know how to properly time that attack. Maybe after I do the blood attack, I should be ready for a roll. Or like start spamming rolling. But if I mistime my roll though, I get fucked as well. The speed that that thing is running, I definitely get fucked. another move I don't know how to properly dodge. If I dodge forward, I don't have enough time to dodge the second hit. If I'm close enough, I don't think his first swing attacks me. But I was pretty far. I was trying to set up. Oh, was I? Did I space out there? Did I do that too slow? I think I spaced out for a second. You see when he runs at you? Like, on the horse, just fucking... It's such a troll, like, look. It looks so stupid. It's funny, though. Oh my god. This guy's fucking with me. It's not even like his, like, crazy, like, gimmicky aspects. It's just some of his moves. He has, like, 2 moves that, like, causes me considerable concern. Oh, that's bullshit. And you know it. The camera angle changed, motherfuckers! The camera angle changed. I rolled the right way, but then the angle changed, so I rolled the wrong way. Oh my god, I forgot camera's a boss in Dark Souls games. That was gonna be another round 3 attempt. Or phase 3 attempt. Oh my fucking god. I have it. Oh, you dick. I didn't realize I didn't change. I realized that. You know what? That sword, however nice it is, brings me more trouble than it does for this fight. So, we're not gonna worry about it. Okay. All right, Dick. I'm an idiot. These are the people you can summon, huh?
Welcome. The stars
Yeah.
have aligned. The festival is. Are you good? The festival.
Ready as I'll ever be.
Before
I
we
don't do
begin,
heavy attacks.
allow me
Oh,
to
this is a good
take
cutscene to
full pitch.
showcase what I was talking about earlier. I'll let it play this time. This person we're fighting who's gone mad.
General Radahn is cursed ever to wander. Eaten from the inside by Melania's scarlet rot, his wits are long gone. Now he gathers the corpses of former friends and foes alike, gorging on them like a dog. Howling at the sky. But now, we must make merry.
Yep.
Oh, gathering of the cell.
Wee. And then you're supposed to summon them. Somebody's nuts. I'll have you know, I'm a pro at that. Bring that up in case I eventually fail. No, I'm not gonna fail. Why would I fail? I'm sure you are. Why would I fail at this, boss? There's something he does that I can't do. Besides falling from the sky like a giant meteor. Can't really do that. But everything else? Ball. I was not close enough? Wow. Not yet, you can't. You're right. I was trying to change my thing because I realized this shit was like off. And then I guess I wasn't paying attention. I thought I was safe, so I wasn't like looking at the dude. Did I add a death for that one? I'm not sure if I did. Throw on another one. What's the difference? Bro. It didn't let me get off. No cap. Didn't let me get off. I was spamming it. Safety wasn't an option. Alright. Two fast deaths. You know how it is. You know how it goes. That was painful. Anyone see my life flash before my eyes? No? Just me? Oh, okay. Kind of far. Fucker! I have no stamina. Actually, that's another thing I want to test. If I do one of these. How much stamina is that? Oh, I can't see until I'm in a boss fight! Motherfucker! That's not helpful. All motion uses more stamina, so I can, I'm guessing the double slash uses a bit more stamina. I'm guessing. The actual audacity, bro. Fuck it, heal. He flew away, motherfucker! I got stuck in that animation, trying to cut him into the 50%, like past the 50% bar. And then I couldn't, like, that attack. It's such a strong attack, but it leaves me so open. Oh, man. Oh, man. But we did some fucking damage on him, though. You know that's absolute bullshit, right? Oh, I'm not even close. Hey! Oh my god. He does that so much faster now. Ooh. I brought him down to the 50% phase again. I need to disrespect his meteor a bit more than I'm giving it. I'm giving his meteor ball thing way too much respect that when I... Oh my... Okay. Ichi, ni, san. I'm giving way too much respect. That's my problem right now. Way too much respect. Oh, what the fuck, bro? Oh, I thought I was on his side. Definitely thought I was on his left side, not in front of him. He moved his big dick elephant trunk foots when he's about to do that attack, like just enough while I was in the middle of my animation. I was like, I'm fucked. Leo, my favorite lion. Alright. Dorks. Like I feel like I'm on the cusp of it. I'm on the cusp of victory. I can feel it in my bones. That hurt like a motherfucker. Alright, we're playing this game. Getting hit by the damn shotgun arrows? So bullshit. That's one of his bullshit moves. His other bullshit moves is his slow charge attack. That's a really bullshit move. I guess his third phase he has some like electric shock type moves that are pretty bullshit. But it's not really bullshit, it's just be more precise, I guess. All right. Absolutely bullshit, man. Getting hit by one of those is so detrimental. That downward hit is so bullshit. Like, it's so fast. Every single time my brain processes that he's doing the down headbutt thing, I press the roll button, but like a millisecond or two like late. Like every single time he does that attack, I'm just my reflexes. I'm an old man now. I get the reflexes of an old man. I process it just like barely too late. That's enough though. That is enough though. Alright. You know that's cap. I didn't even see the attack that time. I didn't even see it that time. I just stared at his foot. I was waiting for a stomp, I think. Like, I was dead set on him stomping me because I was right next to his little foot. Did not pay attention to what was going on overhead. He got me. He got me. Good outplay, good outplay, good overhead. Good overhead. I'm playing, yeah, this is a Tekken Pro moment. I'm playing against someone who fucks me up, basically. Oh, fuck, that was close. How that hits me, I have no fucking clue, man. It's the delays. It's the delays for me. The whole entire put on the ground, charge, attack. Charge, attack. Slow attack, attack. And then stop. Fucker. That was pretty good. Well, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. Come on, big guy. Alright, we're far. There's no reason why I have to use my shit here. Oh, you fucker! I didn't roll. I didn't roll. I timed his delay. I rolled, but I rolled a bit too late. I didn't roll. If I hit him when he did that one move, he would have gone up into space and we could have reset. He was just out of my range. Barely out of my range. Oh, that's so sad. Hitsu, you're teaching us how to get the bitches. Jay, you already got the bitches. Don't lie to me. How are you doing, you dork? Damn. Wait, this is Twitch. I can't be saying that. I'm gonna get banned. See, sometimes he stops the arrow early and he just pulls out a sword. And I'm like, I'm set up like perfectly to just go crazy on him. But he sets up the sword. And then I can't. Very unfortunate. I feel like a badass dodging that attack. That hurt! Whoop! Mother bitch, what? If he ever just spins at me at the start, if it ever looks like he's gonna spin on me, I need to dodge slower. If he does the setup, then I do it accordingly. But if he's not, I just need to dodge slower. Because the first hit, when I'm underneath him, doesn't hit me, I'm pretty sure. If I'm farther off, it hits me. But if I'm right underneath him, it doesn't do shit to me. I can abuse that. You are getting min-maxed right now, bruh. You don't know yet, but you're getting min-maxed. Well, that's kind of cap. Where's this guy? If I remember correctly, this is some bullshit. Oh, I didn't dodge, man. I had it. Oh, he screams when he throws it at you. He screams. He goes, oh, boom, boom, oh. I have to worry about shit when he has the giant balls. When his balls hanging out, don't need to worry about shit. Something epic just happened. The first person I wrote to compliment my long hair. Hey, nice. I'm glad. Very nice. So I don't actually have to worry about shit. When there's a giant balls out, that's none of my concern. Until he yells and brings them at me. That's the only time I care. Every other time, I don't care. He's gonna jump at me. Fuck it, I'll heal. One, two, three. Take it slow. Way too much of a delay. Way too much of a delay. That fucked me. When his balls are out, you got him. When his balls are out, just fucking go at him. Way too dank. Yeah, way too dank. Way too dank. Cause that's what I mean though. Like he has those attacks. At least he's not bullshit like the fucking floaty guy. The floaty guy. You remember that one, Neo? The guy who actually floated in midair. At least his shit, he actually lands correctly. He just moves like with delays. That's it. Oh, what the fuck? know that's Mad Cat! Oh, fuck. I've seen it before. I've seen that move before. But that's, I guess, kind of a bullshit move. I can dodge the balls from a range, but if I'm up close, then as soon as he's done with those balls that are floating towards me, I get hit by his overhead jump attack. Because I dodged his thing. Ah, fuck. I didn't think about that. Yeah, when he has his walk things out, his rock hard swords, I can't play that far. Unless I'm gonna play on horse. That's different entirely. Honestly, what the fuck happened there? Oh my god. This is such a bad run. I don't have my items correctly. Alright. 1, 2. 1, 2, 3. Lingering hitbox. Oh my god, lingering hitbox. Motherfucker. I wonder if I got hit by the one thing. If I didn't get hit by that, could I survive if I was full HP? That lingering hitbox? I don't know. Hey Chi! How are you doing? Yeah, more Radon. We're gonna kill him my way. I know I could summon all these great, wonderful people. But I want to kill him my way. We keep bringing him down to around where he was earlier. Alright, that hit me somehow. Alright, you're Mad Cap. You're Mad Cap today, bro. I mistimed my dodge and I got stuck. I got hit. Oh no. Oh no. Having a comfy Friday evening. How about you? I'm doing pretty good. I'm doing pretty good. We're getting closer with this dude. We're getting fucking closer. And oh my god, I mistimed the one dodge. And if I got the dodge correctly there, I could have done more damage. I'm not sure if I would have killed him, but he would have been close enough where it would have been dangerously close. Oh my fucking god. That's crazy. That's so crazy. Alright, make sure I have my correct blast. I gotta keep focusing on that. But yeah, it's Friday today, Tally. Alright. We start with the cap. We start with the cap. We start with the cap. What are you doing? You're doing that one? See, I can dodge it normally! Bitch! Oh, I didn't dodge. I wanted to dodge that. If I went for the HP there, I would have gotten hit. So I just wanted to dodge that suck-in. Which I can, I just was too slow. Damn, I'm getting so much better at this. Imagine having to like do a fucking speed run where you're not like leveled up enough and have to do all bosses. This guy would be a pain in the ass. Or doing soul level 1. That was way too fucking early, but I mean shit, I'll take it. Oh, you know that's cap. Is that a new move? Yeah, I don't know if that was a scatter arrow throwing me off, or if that was a new move. Why'd he even do a scatter arrow there? That was random. Was I too far? Still watching, believing it. Gotta call mom real quick. Oh no, you take care of your family, bro. Don't even worry. Definitely get off more hits there. But the thing is, I don't want to risk the fucking downhead attack bullshit that he does. The fucking delays, man. The fucking delays. Me? It's coming, it's coming, it's coming. It's roll. And roll. As soon as I'm done rolling, the slash comes. I'm counting too fast and my mental head, my mental internal clock is counting too fast. What if that's what it's doing? What if the delays plus the instant attacks are getting to me where I feel like even my dodges sometimes, I'm trying to delay them as much as possible when I don't need to, and I'm getting fucked. Like, what if it's just like some weird instance of me getting double capped right now? Alright, whatever. Right there. I didn't dodge, but I pressed dodge. Like, I'm just a millisecond delaying it. It's all the fucking delay attacks getting to me. Like, I'm holding on to it for so long. Like, if I dodged a bit earlier than that, I'd be good. I'd probably be good. But it's all the I didn't dodge, motherfucker! Me talking about dodge is making me not dodge now. God damn it! What the fuck? Alright. Second half, this time, for sure. We're getting our second half. We keep getting so close. Hit to dodgeless run. People have done that. Imagine playing this dodgeless. Oh my god. I just thought about the extreme stress the player would be having. Alright. I think I can get off another hit here. Alright, balls to the wall! I was not hitting him! The fuck? Oh, that's Cap. You know that's Cap. Two dodge! I did 2 dodges? Motherfucker! Why did I dodge twice? If I dodged once there, he dies. Why did I dodge twice? Motherfucker, why did I dodge twice? Why did I dodge twice? Why did I dodge twice? What a fun fight! There's always gonna be someone who hates himself enough to combine and do a soloable one hitless dodge storm. Oh my god, that's gonna be stressful. Oh, I had him! I had him! Okay, I had him. I know I can kill him now. He was one step away from my death. Or his death. Oh, this is awkward. Okay. Awkward start. It's alright, I'm not a manipulator still. Oh, fuck. Oh, I didn't roll? If I... Damn. Damn, I don't know why I did. I thought I rolled. Was I out of stamina? I wasn't paying attention to my stamina, to be honest. No, I shouldn't be out of stamina with the way I was playing. I just didn't roll. I saw the delay attack coming. I just... Damn. That would have been really good, because I could have gotten off another hit before it like flew all the way up in the sky. That could have been the one, if I just rolled there. No cap. No cap, no cap, no cap. Alright, we're playing this game. I don't know if I could have rolled there. I didn't even try to roll there. I saw it coming and I just took the L. I wish you could roll out of that attack just a little bit faster. The blood slash thing. It's a really strong move. Like, really fucking strong move. But you're stuck in it. Like, 3 times the regular length of an animation. Okay. Alright, we're playing this game now. Got it. Bro, what the fuck are you doing? Motherfucker, what? Oh, we're taking it slow this time. I can manipulate this one. 1, 2, 3. Take it slow. You might do the thing now. Oh my fucker. Fucking balls, man. What makes those specific balls slightly difficult, they're not extremely difficult to dodge or anything like that. It fucks up your timing with the dodges. So you have to like be hyper aware of how you're dodging. Right there, I was dodging a bit too late or too early. I can't really tell. And then I got hit by his other attacks because I had to dodge his balls. His small balls. His small balls, we gotta worry about. His big balls, who cares about his big balls? Not me. I mean, I do. I'm just lying. Dude. Just make me earn it right now. He's making me earn my shit right now. even like in front of him. Ugh. I can't get the free hits off. He is making me work for my victory. He's trying to make my death counter look worse than it should be. Why didn't I get off? Should have gotten up there. I don't know why I didn't get off. Ooh, fuck! I don't have any food at home, do I? I have like a mini bun me, but that's it. That was so early. Alright, we're capping now. Same result regardless, I guess. So far. I think he yells when he does that attack. Roll after the first attack? That's the one, right? That's the one we're supposed to save. Yeah. So if he yells, that's an audio cue. We have audio cues now. Audio cues for the balls. Audio cue for the delay attack. Okay. Okay. Oh, is it like because I'm falling off at that thing? So my timing's a bit awkward. Alright. We're feeling it now. He's almost downloaded. Audio cues for balls. Almost downloaded this guy. Very weird movements. And the one time I just had to take a swing, he kills me in animation. This dude really gives you very little room to do much. Very, very interesting mechanics. Horse. Okay. He yelled audio cue. I dodged on the first one, dodged on the second one. We knew that. We knew that. We knew that. What a throw. What a throw. Come on, Tekken Brain. I need my Tekken Brain to kick in here. We already had him. We already had him in our grasp. I got this. Okay. I got stuck in animation, but I was reading him really well there. The reason why I like using that move so much, though, it has range on it. So I can hit him from far, because he has some bullshit horse movement that makes it difficult sometimes, but my heart's pounding now. I can feel the adrenaline, like, rushing through my veins. I'm feeling it now. I'm actually feeling it right now. Holy shit. I might do the thing right now. Awkward hit. I just spam roll there. That might be the tactic, spam roll, when he starts charging up like that. Then again, is that the same? That's not the same as the other attack. The one where he has the super delay on it. The super delay, he yells and then he swings. Working for it. I'm dead here. Oh, I'm not. Didn't process that for some reason. That's where he normally jumps. He doesn't, for the one he jumps after, he doesn't yell. He doesn't yell. I'm pretty sure I can dodge if I just spam to his left. Pretty sure. He likes making us work for it now. What if I just dodge forward when he does that attack? They said it's gonna dodge spam right there, but maybe it's still a dodge spam, but what if I dodge forward and then left? What if that's the tech there? Alright, any free hits I'm getting off of you, I'm abusing now. Fucker. Alright. Where is he coming from? Bitch. I told you. He dies today. He dies today. He dies today. Oh my fucking god. Oh, look at the Starry Night. That's so cool. Proper night now. Holy moly. Oh, my heart. Thank you for my souls that are non-existent. I appreciate that. Oh, hello, sir. What are you doing here?
Ah, good. I was waiting for you.
What's up, bro?
What a sick way to fight, eh?
That was fantastic.
Shared by Radahn
Whew.
and you. And did you see that afterwards? A falling star right before our eyes.
That was kind of nuts.
How Radahn was holding back something of that scale. He was a living legend if ever I saw one. And the path has now been cleared. To Nokla, where Rani's fate will be decided. Let's meet where the falling star bit the earth. We'll take
Bit the
out our
earth?
swords
Damn,
once more
nice.
for Mistress Rani.
Bet. Oh, that felt good. That felt so good. That felt so fucking good. I forgot I was supposed to get up. Was I supposed to level up here? I want to. We'll do one intelligence and like what, 3 of this. That's fair, right? Or should I do 2 of this and 1 of this? We'll do 2. Or is it faith? Might be faith. Everything in this game is faith. Might be faith. I mean, I can respec eventually anyways, so. Oh my fucking god. My arms, they're shaking. That felt good. That felt really fucking good. I know I'm not supposed to be in this area yet either, because there's still people I haven't met yet inside the fucking waters and swamps and all kinds of different, like, the surrounding areas. So like, there's probably like multiple bosses I haven't even touched yet. But I beat this boss anyway, motherfuckers. Oh, that felt good. Oh, I'm still ecstatic. My heart's pounding. Is this entire place a battlefield? So if I walked all the way over here, I could have fought him still? Damn, I can say I beat Radahn without leveling up HP. And without summoning now. That's on my card. My achievement card. Hell yeah. Dude, who the fuck would he even still kill here? This isn't that big of a sea. Or desert. What level are you? I don't know. 56? I skipped a lot of, like, the mid portions. Which I intend to come back and do. But I just want to explore this desert. Normally there's always something in these big... See? See? I found something. Told you. There's normally always something in these big deserts. I wasn't trolling. It was, in fact, not a cat. War Dead Catacombs. Oh god, wait, there's a catacombs right next to the place where this dude was fighting for, like, eternity? Did he throw their bodies in here or some shit? What the fuck? Hey, yo, chill! Hey, yo! No, go fight your other bros, bro. Scarlet Rot. Ugh. Kind of disgusting. Collapsing stars? Wait, is that his skill? That's his one skill. We found it. Honestly, you guys fight each other. You guys do your thing. I'm not really here to fight. I'm here to loot. Catch my drift? You guys are great, noble warriors. You know what I forgot? I had Scarlet Rot. Classic mistake. Classic mistake. Damn, so these guys are spirits who are just eternally fighting each other for the rest of their lives. Rest of eternity. Essentially, right? Like, that's the vibe I'm getting here? One of his arrows will fuck me up? One of his regular arrows is enough to fuck me up? I'm really not in the right place. Yeah, I beat him. Felt good. Felt pretty pog. Felt pretty pog. Finally beat him. He had some bullshitty moves, but you know what? It's alright. We fucked him up. That's what matters. Oh, this guy's tanky. Oh! I was gonna go past him, to be honest. Yeah, so I get a feeling, just a small feeling, Neo, that I might be under-leveled for this area, because it takes me like a lot of fucking damage just to do anything to some of these guys. It's just a feeling, just a feeling. But if that's the case, then I don't know where the fuck I'm supposed to go though. Damn, y'all really just got speared like that. Motherfucker. Wait, they're spirits, so they won't even bleed. That being said, I never made the one guy bleed. Radon never bled. I don't know if my heavy attack here does any damage, or does any bleed build up. I know katanas do normally on their own, but I don't think my giant damage does anything. My giant damaging skill. Alright, he's distracted. Perfect. Motherfucker. Come. Okay. Way too tough, that guy. Way too tough. I ignored the motherfuckers! God damn it! Bitch! Alright, I'm running by everyone now. I killed him once. I feel the satisfaction. I'm just gonna try to run by him. If I die, I die. No more souls. Like, they do damage. The shield alone does that to me. God damn. Okay, so there's nothing there. I was kind of trolling when I tried to check the window. We keep running. This is just, we're just gonna run through this entire thing, basically. I'm pretty sure if I run straight, it leads to the boss of this catacomb. But in order for me to get there, I probably need to do something first. So that's what I'm gonna do. We're gonna try to go to this boss and focus on whoever he wants to focus. Running by. Where the fuck? Is there really just nothing here? Like the Tall Boys design? Yeah, it's pretty cool. Is there really nothing there? I thought it would like activated something. I don't know. I guess I go grab my souls now and run back. If I die here, no souls for me. I mean, everyone's running up here. I feel like this is the pathway for something. Woo, baby! Woo, baby! Motherfucker. Where's my soul? In there? We're just running back. It's locked by some contraption. So, I wasn't kidding. Ah, I see. To jump out the window here. This window, right? There's something behind me, motherfucker! Fucking A. These guys are trying to get to me. Kind of being a dickwit. Made it out. We're not fucking dead. And I can maybe try to level up once more. But I'm not sure how much I can level up. Oh, I can. Just straight up. Fuck yeah. Let's pop another dexterity. Oh yeah, I also flexing that person now, so I can put some armor back on now, you know? I can put some armor back on now. We did what we had to. We did what we came for. This should lead to boss fight. Dude, these guys do way too much damage for me, though. Am I gonna be able to do anything? What time is it? Can someone type in chat real quick? Whoever is lurking. I need to order food. Pretty sure. We'll check out the boss. I'll order some food. And then, we'll see. The fuck am I supposed to do with you? Oh my god, it eats my ass? You know, I'm not ready for another boss that has funky designs. So, what we're gonna do is, I found the catacombs. I knew I was gonna find something. I did call it. I found the catacombs. I'm just gonna leave it be, though. We're gonna leave it be. Oh, what happened? It's all red and bloody again. Yeah, we have no food. So actually, let me do that real quick first. I gotta order something. I get some food in my system before I go to work. I leave in 45 minutes. So I need something to come faster than that. That takes about 35 to 45 minutes. I need something faster than that. What's fast? Pan Express, 20 to 30 minutes. Yeah, I could. Yeah, we'll do some Panda Express. Whatever. I wanted to get something else that was Asian, but Panda Express will do the job. Grilled teriyaki chicken. Hold up. Can I not get a plate? White steamed rice on a diet. Orange chicken and grilled teriyaki chicken. As order. Step 1. Choose 2. Alright, order's been placed. Think. Has it? We'll do priority so they bring it to me right away, just in case. Alright. I'm gonna do a little bit of exploration, and then I'm probably gonna end the stream and go start getting ready for work. The main objective of this stream was to kill that boss. And lo and behold, we killed that motherfucking boss. So I'm gonna explore this little ruin place real quick. See what's going on here. And then we'll stop there. We'll stop there. I don't see anything of like, no. Oh, is it raining fucking blood? Holy shit. That is fucking foreboding, bro. It is. Damn, that's some sussy baka type vibes. So this entire place is just a battlefield to go ham at. It's the vibe I'm getting. It would have been really cool to fight him in like in this area. You have to lead him though. They also have the Hidan scythes. Have you guys noticed those? Okay, there's an item here. Let's grab it. Let's see what you are. Hidan spear. Nice. We fucking did it. Oh my god. Why did it return me to this one? Why not spawn me in that one? The closer one. Yeah, I just somehow managed to skip a lot of fucking shit at the same time. So that's been my gameplay experience this entire time, just skipping shit. I would bow to you too. I don't have it equipped. These are people you could summon, pretty sure. Does he have a Tengu mask? He does. Holy fuck. How'd I get that shit? What's that say? Visions of Ritual. Oh, I heard a complaint recently about how people are hating on Elden Ring for not having a coherent story. Having known nothing about the Dark Souls series.
The war festival has
And how like they do their storytelling.
champion. You have our gratitude. The celebration was spectacular. General Radahn is surely pleased. Festering with rot and crippled by madness, all he wanted was an honorable death.
God, I could give it to him.
Finally, my work is done. I'm no longer bound to this fortress. I have a task in mind. Old business, you could say. You wouldn't understand.
No, what did you say there?
May we meet again.
Ah, there we go.
Brave champion.
Honestly, just what a dope fucking game. Anywho. Why not TP here? I just remember there was something I could do here that I couldn't do earlier. That I might be able to do. No. No, it was like inside the volcano manor. What? How the fuck? It was inside. right one though? Yeah, what's this one? It's called Abductor Virgin. What a fun experience. This game is so fun. And I guess we continue tomorrow. Tomorrow we do more exploration. Oh, this is where okay, so that's where we just killed the dude. Let's see Father River. What's this one? What's this bonfire? Okay, that's up there. What the hell is this one then? I'm just trying to figure out where we are. I remember there being like a different path I could take inside this thing. And I just didn't take it. And I fell or something. What a dope ass attack, actually. Holy shit, I didn't know I had that. It's one way. And this is no way. No way to go on this way. Lava hurts, by the way. In case you guys didn't know. Lava fucking hurts. Where's the pathway I saw, though, before? No, it wasn't this. I know it wasn't this. I already fought the boss. I don't know. I can see some Elden, but not much ring. Let me see. There we go. Yeah, I fell down here before. But before this, there was another pathway I could take somewhere. I don't know, like, how I got there. I think it's in here, and then I somehow got stuck here. Because I don't know where that is. I don't know what that thing is. This is in that direction. But that's for next stream. Tomorrow. I need to get ready for work. We beat the guy we needed to, so. The Elden Ring of Legend. Bam, bam. Alright, we're just stacking deaths. That's my mission objective. Stacking as many deaths as I can. That's my voice. Leave it to me. Hate my voice. I don't know who to raid. You guys have any suggestions on raids? I guess Albie is playing. Elden Ring. I feel like I'm further in Elden Ring now that I can maybe raid people who are playing Elden Ring. Who is this though? Let me see. Digimon World. Let's make some progress in Digimon World 3. Casual streamer from Denmark who enjoys relaxing and having a good time with chat. Still new to streaming and trying to improve. I'd be down. Alright, let me see where Albie is. Nope, never mind. He's in a place I don't know. Goodbye. While rating Cerulean. Thank you for the suggestion. I will rate him. If you guys want to come by and stop by, he's playing some Digimon World 3. It's a classic retro game, it seems like, but he's new to streaming, so be nice. Send him some love. Say hello. I understand the new streaming struggles. In fact, I'm kind of going through the entire wave again, having been gone for so long. Everything's so scuffed. Everything's so scuffed. My stream so scuffed. Still need to fix it, and I still haven't fully fixed everything. So, anywho, you guys take care. Tomorrow we continue, and hopefully we get to fight more fun bosses. God, that was such a fun fight. I'll see you guys later. Take care, and bye. I don't have a raid message. We should probably think of something, but I really don't. I have no clue. And I'm out.